Everyone underestimated her. Then she revealed her real power. Maya Chen wiped the grease from her hands with a dirty rag as she crawled out from beneath the massive power coupling on level 47 of Nexus Station. The other maintenance workers barely looked her way. To them, she was just another human grunt doing the jobs no one else wanted. The alien species that dominated the Galactic Trade Federation had made it clear where humans belonged in their hierarchy, and it wasn't anywhere important. The station hummed around her, a massive structure that served as the central hub for trade between 12 different star systems. Ships came and went every hour, carrying goods worth more than entire planets. Maya had been working here for 3 years, and in all that time, not a single non-human had bothered to learn her name. "Hey, human!" barked Zefek, a Krathari foreman whose blue-scaled skin glistened under the harsh lighting. His 4 arms gestured impatiently as he approached Maya's work area. "The waste recycling units in Sector 12 are acting up again. Go fix them." Maya nodded silently and gathered her tools. The Krathari were one of the more tolerant species toward humans, which meant they usually didn't spit when they talked to her. Zefek had been her supervisor for 2 years, and he had never once acknowledged that Maya consistently solved problems other workers couldn't handle. As she made her way through the station's corridors, Maya observed everything around her with careful attention. She noticed the slight vibration in the deck plating that suggested the gravity generators were running 0.3% below optimal efficiency. She saw the way the lighting flickered almost imperceptibly in Section C, indicating a power routing issue that would cause a complete blackout within 6 days if left untreated. She detected the faint chemical smell that meant the air recycling system was developing a leak in the filtration chamber, but Maya kept these observations to herself. She had learned long ago that pointing out problems before they became obvious to her alien supervisors only led to suspicion and trouble. The waste recycling sector was located in the deepest part of the station, where the artificial gravity was heaviest and the air thick with unpleasant odors. Maya didn't mind. She actually preferred working in areas where others avoided going. It gave her space to think and work without constant supervision. The recycling units were indeed malfunctioning, but not in the way the work order described. According to the report filed by the previous shift, the units were simply running slowly. Maya could see immediately that someone had tampered with the molecular breakdown chambers. The modification was subtle but deliberate, designed to extract and store certain rare elements instead of breaking them down completely. Someone was stealing, and they were smart about it. Maya could have reported her discovery, but she knew what would happen. The investigation would focus on the human workers first, regardless of evidence. The real thief would have time to cover their tracks while Maya and her colleagues faced interrogation and suspicion. Instead, she began documenting everything she found. Maya had an unusual talent for remembering technical details with perfect accuracy. While other workers relied on diagnostic tools and computer readouts, Maya could feel the rhythms and patterns of the station's systems. She understood the flow of energy, the movement of materials, and the delicate balance that kept everything running. As she worked on the recycling units, Maya's enhanced hearing picked up a conversation from the corridor outside. 2 voices speaking in the clicking language of the Viridian Trade Consortium. "The shipment arrived this morning," said the first voice. "High-grade trilithium crystals, military specifications. They're stored in Vault 7 on level 15. "Perfect," replied the second voice. "The buyer is expecting delivery within 48 hours. Make sure the security rotation is adjusted as planned." Maya continued working, her hands steady as she repaired the recycling unit while her mind processed what she had heard. Trilithium crystals were heavily regulated by the Federation. Military-grade crystals were forbidden to private traders. If someone was smuggling them through Nexus Station, it represented a serious threat to galactic security. She finished her repairs and returned to the maintenance bay to file her report. Zefek barely glanced at the completed work order as he assigned her next task. Maya was supposed to check the environmental controls in the diplomatic quarters, where visiting ambassadors and trade delegates stayed during negotiations. The diplomatic section of the station was a stark contrast to the industrial areas where Maya usually worked. Here, the corridors were wide and decorated with art from across the galaxy. The air was clean and climate-controlled, and soft music played from hidden speakers. Maya felt like an intruder in her stained work coveralls. Ambassador Theron of the Cassiopeia Republic was holding court in Conference Room 1, entertaining a group of wealthy traders with stories of his homeworld's crystal mines. Maya worked quietly on the environmental panel outside the room, invisible to the important people inside. "The humans are useful enough for manual labor," Theron was saying, his voice carrying easily through the partially open door. "But they lack the intellectual capacity for real innovation. Their technology is primitive, and their understanding of quantum mechanics is laughable." Several aliens laughed in agreement. Maya tightened her grip on her tools but kept working. "I heard one of them try to apply for a position in the engineering corps," added a Zetarian merchant, her serpentine head swaying with amusement. "Can you imagine a human trying to work with quantum flux calculations?" More laughter filled the room. Maya finished adjusting the environmental controls and moved to her next task. She had heard similar conversations countless times before. The galactic community saw humans as a recently discovered species, barely advanced enough for space travel, useful only for simple tasks. What they didn't know was that Maya held advanced degrees in quantum physics, stellar engineering, and xenobiology from Earth's finest universities. She spoke 7 alien languages fluently and had published research papers on dimensional theory under a pseudonym, but her credentials meant nothing here. The Federation's evaluation of human intelligence was based on their assessment of Earth's technology level when first contact occurred, and they saw no reason to revise their opinions. Maya had originally come to Nexus Station as part of a cultural exchange program, hoping to learn from advanced alien civilizations. Instead, she found herself assigned to maintenance work because the Federation administrators couldn't conceive of a human being capable of intellectual pursuits. After completing her rounds, Maya returned to her small quarters in the human worker housing section. The room was barely large enough for a bed and desk, with a small window that looked out into the empty void of space. Maya sat at her desk and opened her personal computer, a device that looked primitive by Federation standards, but was actually far more sophisticated than it appeared. She began analyzing the data she had gathered during her shift. The theft from the recycling systems was part of a larger pattern she had been tracking for months. Someone was systematically skimming valuable materials from the station's waste streams and shipping manifests. The operation was sophisticated, requiring access to multiple systems and detailed knowledge of the station's operations. The trilithium crystal smuggling was new information, but it fit the pattern. Maya cross-referenced shipping schedules, personnel rotations, and energy consumption reports. She found 17 anomalies that pointed to a coordinated effort involving multiple participants. As she worked, Maya monitored the station's communication networks through carefully hidden back doors she had installed over the past year. The Federation's cybersecurity was impressive by their standards, but Maya had learned things about quantum encryption that her hosts couldn't imagine. A message came through on a secured channel, encoded in what the sender believed was an unbreakable cipher. Maya decoded it in seconds. "Operation proceeds as planned. The human workers will be blamed for the missing materials. Prepare for final phase tomorrow night." Maya leaned back in her chair and considered her options. She could continue gathering evidence and try to expose the conspiracy through official channels, but that would take time she didn't have. The criminals were planning to frame innocent humans for their crimes, and Maya knew how galactic justice worked. Her fellow workers would be arrested, interrogated, and possibly imprisoned without trial. Or she could take direct action. Maya had spent 3 years being underestimated, overlooked, and dismissed. The aliens around her saw her as nothing more than a useful tool, no more capable of independent thought than the machines she repaired. They had no idea what she was truly capable of. She opened a new file on her computer and began planning. Maya knew every system on the station, every security protocol, every weakness in the Federation's supposedly impenetrable defenses. She had been observing and learning while everyone around her assumed she was too primitive to understand what she was seeing. Tomorrow night, Maya would show them exactly how wrong they were. As she worked through the night, developing her strategy, Maya felt a mixture of anticipation and resolve. She had tried to fit into the Federation's hierarchy, accepting their limitations and restrictions, but they had pushed too far. They were planning to destroy innocent lives to cover their crimes, confident that no one would question their accusations against the inferior humans. Maya finished her preparations as the station's artificial dawn cycle began. She had work to do, and for the first time since arriving at Nexus Station, she was going to show everyone exactly what a human was capable of when they stopped holding back. The countdown had begun. Maya arrived at her maintenance shift the next morning with a carefully prepared plan. She had spent the night creating what appeared to be routine repair schedules, but each task was strategically chosen to place her in the right location at the right time. Her first stop was the primary computer core on level 30. According to her work order, she was there to replace a faulty cooling unit. In reality, Maya was installing hardware that would give her complete access to the station's central systems. The device she attached to the quantum processing array looked like a standard diagnostic module. None of the Viridian technicians working nearby gave her a second glance. To them, she was just another human doing simple maintenance work. They had no idea that the small black box contained computing power that exceeded anything in the Federation's public database. Maya had designed the device herself, using principles of quantum processing that wouldn't be discovered by Federation scientists for another 50 years. Earth's technology had advanced far beyond what the aliens believed possible, but humanity had learned to keep their true capabilities hidden after the disastrous first contact negotiations. As Maya worked, she listened to the Viridian technicians discussing their projects. They were proud of achieving processing speeds that Maya's handheld tablet could exceed by a factor of 10. She nodded politely when they explained their work to her, pretending to struggle with concepts she had mastered years ago. "The quantum flux calculations are very complex," explained Technician Valdris, speaking slowly as if Maya might not understand basic words. "We use 17 different variables to maintain stability." "That sounds very hard," Maya replied in deliberately simple language. She didn't mention that her hidden device was currently running calculations involving thousands of variables simultaneously. With her access device in place, Maya could monitor every system on the station in real time. She immediately confirmed what she had suspected. The conspiracy involved 3 senior administrators, 2 security chiefs, and at least 8 other personnel spread across different departments. The scale of the operation was impressive. They had been systematically stealing valuable materials for over 2 years, using their positions to cover their tracks and blame losses on equipment failures or human worker incompetence. The trilithium crystal smuggling was their biggest score yet, worth enough to buy a small planet. Maya's next assignment took her to the security center on level 20. She was supposedly checking the backup power systems, but her real goal was gathering intelligence on the station's security protocols. As she worked in the equipment room adjacent to the main security office, Maya could hear the guards discussing their shift schedules. "The overnight rotation is being modified again," complained Officer Kethra, a Zatarian with distinctive purple markings. "Third time this month. Makes it hard to maintain proper surveillance." "Orders from Chief Vortex," replied his partner, a Krathari named Jexon. "He says it's for efficiency, but I think he's just trying to confuse the human workers, make it harder for them to plan any theft." Maya almost smiled at the irony. The security modifications weren't meant to stop human theft. They were designed to facilitate alien smuggling. Chief Vortex was one of the conspirators, using his authority to create blind spots in station monitoring. As the day progressed, Maya visited 7 different locations throughout the station. Each stop appeared routine, but she was actually building a comprehensive picture of the entire operation. Her hidden monitoring systems were recording everything: communications, financial transfers, shipping schedules, and personnel movements. By midday, Maya had identified the exact time and method the conspirators would use to move the trilithium crystals. The transfer was scheduled for 2300 hours, during the night shift when human workers were restricted to their quarters. The crystals would be moved from Vault 7 to a private cargo ship registered to a shell company controlled by Ambassador Theron. Maya also discovered something that made her angry enough to take serious risks. The conspirators weren't just planning to blame humans for the missing materials. They intended to stage an accident that would kill several human workers, making them convenient scapegoats who couldn't defend themselves. The plan was elegant in its cruelty. An explosion in the recycling center would destroy evidence while eliminating witnesses. The surviving humans would be accused of sabotage and terrorism. The Federation would use the incident to justify even harsher restrictions on human activities throughout known space. Maya finished her official duties early and returned to her quarters. She had 6 hours to prepare for the most important night of her life. In the privacy of her room, Maya opened a concealed compartment in her desk and removed equipment that would have shocked anyone familiar with Federation technology. The items looked innocuous: a wrist communicator, several small tools, and what appeared to be a simple tablet computer. In reality, Maya was arming herself with technology that could penetrate any security system the aliens had developed. The wrist communicator was actually a quantum entanglement device that allowed instantaneous communication across any distance. Maya used it to contact her real supervisor, a woman named Director Sarah Chen, who worked for Earth's Department of Interstellar Security. "Maya reporting in," she said quietly, speaking into the seemingly primitive device. "Good to hear from you, Agent Chen," came the immediate reply. "We've been monitoring increased chatter about Nexus Station. What's your situation?" Maya provided a complete briefing on the conspiracy and the planned frame-up. Director Chen listened without interruption, processing the implications of what Maya had discovered. "This is bigger than we expected," the director said finally. "If they successfully blame humans for terrorism, it could justify a complete ban on human participation in galactic trade. We can't let that happen." "Understood," Maya replied, requesting authorization for full disclosure of capabilities. There was a long pause. Maya knew what the director was considering. For 3 years, humanity had maintained the fiction that they were a primitive species, barely capable of space travel. This deception had kept Earth safe from potential invasion while allowing human agents to infiltrate alien society undetected. Revealing Maya's true capabilities would expose humanity's technological advancement to the galaxy. But allowing the conspiracy to succeed would be far worse. "Authorization granted," Director Chen said finally. "Show them what humans can really do." Maya felt a surge of excitement. For 3 years, she had hidden her intelligence, pretended to struggle with simple concepts, and endured countless insults about human inferiority. Tonight, the truth would finally come out. She spent the next few hours preparing equipment and reviewing her plan. Maya would intercept the conspirators during the trilithium transfer, gather evidence of their crimes, and prevent the planned explosion that would kill her fellow workers. But she wouldn't just stop the conspiracy. She would do it in a way that demonstrated human technological superiority beyond any possible doubt. At 2200 hours, Maya left her quarters and made her way through the station's maintenance tunnels. The route she took avoided all security checkpoints and monitoring systems. Her knowledge of the station's infrastructure was complete, down to every hidden passage and emergency conduit. She emerged in a storage room adjacent to Vault 7, just as the conspirators began their operation. Through her concealed cameras, Maya watched as Ambassador Theron, Security Chief Vortex, and 4 other aliens worked to move the trilithium crystals from the vault to a cargo transport. "Make sure the human DNA evidence is planted in the recycling center," Theron was instructing one of his accomplices. "I want their genetic markers on every piece of equipment that will survive the explosion." "What about the workers who will die?" asked a Viridian technician who seemed nervous about the plan. "Regrettable but necessary," Theron replied coldly. "The Federation Council needs to see clear evidence that humans cannot be trusted with sensitive positions. A few deaths will ensure that humans remain in their proper place as manual laborers." Maya's enhanced hearing picked up every word, and her recording devices captured everything in perfect detail. She waited until the conspirators had moved the crystals to the transport vehicle before making her presence known. "I'm afraid I can't allow you to complete this operation," Maya said, stepping out of the shadows. The aliens spun around in shock, hands reaching for weapons. They froze when they saw what appeared to be a lone human maintenance worker facing them empty-handed. "You!" Vortex snarled. "How did you get past security?" "More importantly," Theron added with a cruel smile, "you're about to become another victim of the tragic explosion. How convenient." They had no idea that Maya's apparently primitive work coveralls were actually woven with fibers that could deflect energy weapons and physical attacks. They couldn't see the micro-drones she had released, invisible devices that were already disabling their equipment and recording everything for evidence. "I know about the trilithium smuggling," Maya said calmly. "I know about the planned explosion. I know about your scheme to frame innocent humans for your crimes." The conspirators exchanged glances of disbelief. How could a primitive human worker have uncovered their sophisticated operation? "Kill her quickly," Theron ordered. "We're behind schedule." Vortex drew his energy pistol and fired directly at Maya's chest. The bolt of plasma that should have killed her instantly was absorbed harmlessly by her protective clothing. Maya didn't even flinch. "Impossible," Vortex whispered, staring at his weapon as if it had malfunctioned. "Actually, it's just good engineering," Maya replied. She touched her wrist communicator, and suddenly every electronic device the conspirators carried went dead. Their weapons stopped working, their communication equipment failed, and the lights in the cargo transport shut off. "What's happening?" demanded one of the Viridian accomplices. Maya smiled for the first time since arriving at Nexus Station. "You're about to learn what humans are really capable of when we stop pretending to be primitive." Maya watched as the conspirators struggled to understand what was happening to their equipment. Their weapons remained dead, their communication devices silent, and their carefully planned operation falling apart before their eyes. "Allow me to properly introduce myself," Maya said, her voice carrying a confidence that made the aliens step backward. "My name is Dr. Maya Chen, and I hold the rank of Senior Agent in Earth's Department of Interstellar Security. I have advanced degrees in quantum physics, stellar engineering, xenobiology, and cybernetic warfare." The aliens stared at her in shock. The concept of a human with multiple advanced degrees was beyond their understanding of human capabilities. "Impossible," Ambassador Theron stammered. "Humans don't have the intelligence for higher education. Your species barely understands basic mathematics." Maya's laugh was genuinely amused. "That's exactly what we wanted you to believe. For 3 years, I've been gathering intelligence on Federation activities while you and your colleagues dismissed me as a primitive maintenance worker. The irony is delicious." She touched her wrist device again, and holographic displays materialized around the cargo bay, showing detailed records of every crime the conspirators had committed. Financial transfers, shipping records, communication logs, and video evidence of their planning sessions filled the air with undeniable proof. "I've been monitoring your operation for months," Maya continued. "Every theft, every falsified report, every plan to frame innocent humans for your crimes. Did you really think you could outsmart a species that developed faster than light travel while you were still using chemical rockets?" Security Chief Vortex raised his backup weapon, a kinetic projectile gun that should have worked regardless of electronic interference. When he pulled the trigger, nothing happened. Maya had already neutralized every weapon in the cargo bay using technology the Federation couldn't detect, much less understand. "Your weapons won't function because I've deployed a localized quantum field that disrupts the molecular bonds in your ammunition and energy cells," Maya explained conversationally. "It's a defensive technology my people developed about 30 years ago." The Viridian technician, who had seemed nervous earlier, began backing toward the exit. Maya gestured casually, and the cargo bay doors sealed shut with a sound like thunder. The locking mechanism engaged with a finality that made several aliens flinch. "Nobody leaves until we've completed our business," Maya said. "I have some things to show you that I think you'll find educational." She activated her tablet, and the device projected a three-dimensional map of the entire station into the air above them. Every system, every corridor, every hidden passage was displayed in perfect detail, but more impressive were the thousands of tiny lights moving throughout the structure. "Those lights represent my monitoring devices," Maya explained. "I've had complete surveillance coverage of Nexus Station for over a year. I know about every illegal transaction, every bribed official, every safety violation you've covered up. The Federation Council is going to have some very interesting reading material." Ambassador Theron found his voice, though it cracked with fear. "Even if you have evidence, you're just one human. We can overpower you and destroy whatever information you've gathered." Maya's smile grew wider. "One human? Oh, Ambassador, you really haven't been paying attention." She spoke a command in what sounded like human language, but the words triggered systems throughout the station. Suddenly, every maintenance worker, every cleaning staff member, every supposedly primitive human on Nexus Station was speaking in perfect technical Federation standard. "Agent Rodriguez reporting full surveillance of Level 15, came a voice through Maya's communicator. "Agent Singh here. I've secured the evidence locker and arrested 3 corrupt security personnel," reported another. "Agent Okafor in position at the main computer core. I've locked down all external communications to prevent evidence destruction," added a third voice. The conspirators realized they were surrounded by human agents who had been masquerading as simple workers for years. Every human on the station was revealing advanced equipment, sophisticated technology, and intelligence that shattered every assumption the Federation had made about human capabilities. "You see," Maya said, enjoying the looks of shock on their faces. "Humanity learned something important from our first contact with the galactic community. When you're vastly outnumbered, it's better to be underestimated than feared. So we let you think we were primitive while we learned everything we could about your technology, your politics, and your weaknesses." She activated another device, and the cargo bay filled with holographic displays showing Earth's true technological capabilities. Starships that could cross the galaxy in days rather than months. Weapons that could destroy planets. Defensive systems that made Federation shields look like tissue paper. And computers that processed information faster than the aliens could comprehend. "While you were congratulating yourselves on your superior intellects," Maya continued, "human scientists were developing technologies you can't even understand the basic principles of. We've been watching your entire civilization, learning from your mistakes, and preparing for the day when we would need to reveal ourselves." Ambassador Theron's legs gave out, and he collapsed to his knees as the full implications hit him. Your species. You've been pretending to be inferior, while secretly developing weapons that could destroy us all. We could have, Maya agreed. But humans aren't interested in conquest. We're interested in justice, truth, and protecting innocent people from predators like you. That's why I couldn't let you murder my fellow agents just to maintain your criminal operation. She gestured to the tritium crystals, which began glowing with an inner light as her scanning devices analyzed them. Military-grade trilithium, stolen from Federation defense stockpiles and destined for sale to rebel groups in the outer systems. This single shipment could power weapons capable of destroying entire star systems. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. Maya had documented every aspect of the conspiracy with technology the Federation couldn't match and precision they couldn't challenge. "What happens now?" asked one of the Viridian accomplices, his voice barely above a whisper. "Now you face justice," Maya replied, "but not Federation justice, which you've corrupted and manipulated. This station is now under the authority of the Terran Security Service, acting under emergency provisions of the Galactic Trade Agreement." As if summoned by her words, human agents appeared throughout the cargo bay, materializing from concealment with equipment that made them look like warriors from an advanced civilization. Their armor gleamed with embedded technology, their weapons hummed with contained energy, and their movements showed the precision of enhanced reflexes. The interesting thing about the trade agreement, Maya explained to the stunned conspirators, is that it grants enforcement authority to any signatory species when crimes threaten interstellar security. Since the Federation has been unable to prevent trilithium smuggling, Earth is assuming jurisdiction. Ambassador Theron looked up at her with a mixture of fear and confusion. "But humans aren't advanced enough to—" "To what?" Maya interrupted. "To build faster-than-light communication networks? To develop artificial intelligence that can predict your behavior? To create weapons that could sterilize your home worlds? We've been doing all of those things while you thought we were too stupid to understand basic physics." She knelt down to look the ambassador in the eye. "The really amusing part is that everything I've told you about human technology is just what we're willing to let you know. Our actual capabilities would terrify you so badly that you'd never sleep peacefully again." The cargo bay doors opened, and more human agents entered, escorting a parade of corrupt Federation officials who had been arrested throughout the station. Maya recognized several faces from her intelligence gathering. Customs officials who had taken bribes, security officers who had looked the other way, and administrators who had falsified records. "The Federation Council will hear about this," Theron threatened weakly. "They'll never accept human authority over Federation citizens." "Actually, they already have," Maya said, showing him a holographic document. 12 hours ago, the Council received a complete briefing on Earth's technological capabilities, along with our evidence of systemic corruption in the Federation government. They've formally requested human assistance in cleaning up their administration. The document was genuine, bearing the seals of all 12 major galactic governments. In a few short hours, Maya's mission had evolved from undercover intelligence gathering to a complete reshaping of interstellar politics. "You see, the Council isn't stupid," Maya continued. "When faced with evidence that a supposedly primitive species had been running circles around their best security for years, they realized they had two choices: accept human help or watch their entire governmental structure collapse under the weight of its own corruption. As the conspirators were led away by human agents, Maya allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. She had not only prevented a terrorist attack, but had also given humanity its proper place in galactic society. No longer would humans be dismissed as primitive laborers. The galaxy would finally recognize them as the advanced civilization they had always been. Over the next few hours, Maya supervised the complete transformation of Nexus Station. Human technology replaced Federation systems, human agents took over security positions, and human administrators began the process of rooting out years of accumulated corruption. The other human maintenance workers, now revealed as highly trained agents, worked with efficiency that amazed the remaining Federation personnel. Tasks that had taken hours with alien technology were completed in minutes using human equipment. Maya found herself in the station's main conference room, now serving as a command center for the operation. Director Sarah Chen appeared via quantum communication link, her image crystal clear despite being transmitted across half the galaxy. "Outstanding work, Agent Chen," the director said with obvious pride. "The Federation Council has agreed to a complete restructuring of interstellar trade oversight, with Earth providing technical and administrative support. You've just changed the balance of power in the galaxy." Maya nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility that came with her success. "What about the long-term consequences? Some species won't accept human authority easily." "They don't have much choice," Director Chen replied with a slight smile. "When we demonstrated our defensive capabilities this morning, several aggressive species reconsidered their territorial ambitions. It turns out that when you can appear anywhere in the galaxy instantly and disable entire fleets without firing a shot, diplomacy becomes much more attractive. The transformation of galactic society would take time, but Maya had started something that couldn't be stopped. Humanity had revealed itself as the most technologically advanced species in known space, and they had done so while demonstrating their commitment to justice rather than conquest. As Maya prepared her final report on the mission, she reflected on the irony of her situation. For 3 years, she had been underestimated, overlooked, and dismissed as primitive. The aliens around her had never imagined that the quiet human maintenance worker was actually one of the most capable intelligence agents in the galaxy. But in the end, their underestimation had been humanity's greatest advantage. By hiding their true abilities, humans had learned everything they needed to know about alien society while remaining invisible to those who would have opposed them. Maya looked out at the stars through the conference room window and smiled. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place, and humanity was ready to take its rightful position among the stars. The age of human deception was over. The age of human leadership had begun.